Coming up next, Forecaster John Bordash goes over the latest forecast, timing of the winter storm, and impacts you can expect in southern Maryland and across the mid-Atlantic. Stay tuned. This live forecast begins shortly. Coming up next, Forecaster John Bordash goes over the latest forecast, timing of the winter storm, and impacts you can expect in southern Maryland and across the mid-Atlantic. Stay tuned. This live forecast begins shortly.
Brought to you by our sponsors: William Richmond Inc., Farmers Home and Auto Insurance, the Bob Koski Agency, R.E. Graves Heating and Air Conditioning, Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, McNeil's Group Properties, the Charleston Senior Community, and Chesapeake's Bounty. Now, here's a weather alert update from JB Weather.
Hey, good evening, everyone. I'm Forecaster John Bordash with you this evening right after 7 o'clock, sitting at 7:03 here to give you the latest update on what it is we're going to be tracking, I think, over the next, not just couple of days, really the next week. We're going to have storm chance after storm chance, and it's going to be an active time, I think. If you would like to see the full written forecast, which should answer 98% of your questions, that is a pinned comment for you, and that's also up on the website, jbweather.net. What you will notice as we transition into the forecast, there will be a little ticker that appears at the bottom part of your screen. That there will show you a snow forecast for your specific location. Can I list every nook and cranny in southern Maryland? The answer is no. I can only fit 30 town names, so I need to be kind of selective, but I try to get some of the big ones. So if you don't see your town name, get the one that's 5 miles away, and I'm sure you will be all good. So you can see that down there. I first want to start you off with the extended forecast. Every single day is either a weather aware day or a weather alert day. It is going to be very active. The only day that does not have any precipitation chances is going to be Monday, and it's a weather aware day because it's going to be cold. So we have a couple of systems in here. I know it looks like we are just always going to be seeing, a little bit of ice, a little bit of snow, a little bit of rain. Our first system works in Wednesday evening going into Thursday morning. Then we have a break. Then Thursday evening and a Friday morning. Then we have a break. Then we have Saturday and a Sunday morning. Then we have a little bit of an extended break. And then we go into Tuesday. And the further each day we head out, the less I am able to tell you. So I will be able to tell you far less about the Thursday and a Friday system than I can about the Wednesday and a Thursday. The same deal with the Saturday into Sunday system. The same with the Tuesday system. What I can tell you, though, is it's going to be an active week. For a couple of weeks now, I've been talking about the month of February being very active. I've definitely been talking about that on Patreon. Go ahead and check that out. But it's going to be active, so let's get into it. And I want to say this might be one step ahead of where I want it to be, but it's not a bad place to start, but I don't want to start here. So this is going to be the weather setup for this week. I know this graphic looks a little complicated. We are really looking at the battle between two seasons almost. We have a southeast ridge down to the south and east, as the name implies. That's pumping up warm air to the southeast U.S. To the north, we have the polar vortex, a little bit at least. That's come south, and that's going to try to be delivering some cold air. There will be a small area in between where it's going to be like a battle zone, and that's where our storms are going to want to go because it's going to be the path of least resistance. And sure enough, that is a path that leads to a lot of question marks here locally, because does that mean snow, sleet, rain? It really means we could be looking at everything. So the first threat, or really the threat we're currently looking at, is Wednesday through Friday. So this kind of looks at two different systems. Phase 1. This is going to be a system that is developing out along the southern plains, and that's going to be spreading snow and ice from Texas and Oklahoma up through Arkansas, Tennessee, Kentucky, West Virginia, and into our region. This one will bring some warm air to the north. and cold air will be filtering out at the same time. So that will lead to some questions about what happens, and I'm sure there will be a transition that we'll talk about in a second. Then that energy dies off, a coastal low forms. As that forms, how close to the coast is it? How far to the north is it? These were all the questions we were asking with the system that impacted us, well, on Sunday. Again, it's been an active time. That one seems to favor southern areas more. Phase 2, where Phase 1 is much more, it seems to me at least, more of a northern type solution. So let's talk about Phase 1. Again, that will spread some precip into the region going into the day tomorrow. And it's really tomorrow evening, so I know I'm going to get a question if I haven't already. What time will it start tomorrow? Probably after sunset, so probably sometime after 7. This will likely start as maybe some brief snow for just about everyone. However, with the warm air that we were just talking about that will creep up to the north, it will transition areas over to sleet, then to freezing rain, and then to rain. This should stay almost all snow from DC points north. This will then go to that wintry mix in that pink zone, and it will last for varying times in that area. And then to the south, this will be, again, brief snow going over to a little bit of freezing rain, sleet, and then mainly rain for those areas you see in green. And yes, that includes southern St. Mary's, because when does that not include southern St. Mary's County? We know how this story goes. So this seems to be your typical northwest I-95 type system. Areas here in southern Maryland, up along our waterways, when we transition over to wintry mix, well, for everyone, the question will be how quick does the warm air move in, and do we stick with mainly a wintry mix, or do we go over to rain? The waterways locally, the Chesapeake Bay, Patuxent River, Potomac River, our back bays and creeks will help to transition us over to rain quicker. It will help to warm us up quicker. So I'm not too worried about a freezing rain situation here. I'm much more concerned about that west of I-95, south of I-66. How much snow do I think we'll see from this? Again, some brief snow, and I need to turn my volume off on my phone. So, first call for Phase 1. Again, you can get this on that pinned comment, or just go over to jbweather.net blog. Yes, you'll see it. Again, this favors areas north and west of DC, I think, 3 to 6 inches. That's where a winter storm watch is up, and I believe I have that graphic hidden somewhere in here, hopefully. I think up along I-95, near DC, Annapolis, Baltimore, points north, probably about 2 to 4. Likely going to stay as mainly snow up in that region. For upper portions of southern Maryland, so we're talking southern Anne Arundel, southern PG, northern Calvert, northern Charles, you may be able to squeeze out an inch or two out of this. Maybe. And we'll walk through a model with you, the one I like to use, and I'll show you that. Most everyone else will less than an inch. So what will happen undoubtedly is by Wednesday evening to Thursday morning, people will be calling this a bust because they saw no snow. Our snowfall, as with many of the systems, it will not come from this. This will favor areas north and west. So please keep that in mind, because reading those comments, after a while, reading the same comment, it's a bust, it's going to enter my skin a little bit. I'm sure you all know this. But again, the concern I would really have for our region could be the potential for a little bit of icing. I think in our region, we could see maybe up to 1/10 of an inch of sleet and maybe up to 1/10 of an inch of freezing rain. Those specific numbers will be the highest for areas away from the water. So we're talking upper St. Mary's County, maybe like Mechanicsville, that's that area, over towards maybe like Morganza. Inland Charles County, northern Calvert County. That would be the area where these numbers will probably be the highest. We're talking maybe up to 1/4 to 1/3 of an inch of sleet and up to 1/4 of an inch of freezing rain across the Shenandoah Valley in central Virginia. So any travel plans out that way, no bueno. So what about impacts? Wednesday, tomorrow, daylight hours should be fine. Just some clouds. When we go into the evening, I would not recommend any travel of any sort after 7, even if it is just rain, because it is going to be a mess, and people, you know how it goes, really anywhere. You head out, there's some snow, it's a mess. So I would not recommend travel for anyone at any point in time after 7 p.m. Wednesday, really going through Friday afternoon. But we'll talk about that more in a second. So no, I would not suggest that. Will this lead to impacts on Thursday? This storm alone, yes, will lead to impacts Thursday. I'm sure the next question, I'm just trying to do a little bit of forecasting here of the comments. Will schools close on Thursday? Will my business close? Can I fly out on Thursday? The answer to all is no, you can't fly out. Yes, schools will probably be impacted. And no, I would not recommend travel on Friday, really anywhere in the Mid-Atlantic. With that said, when it comes to schools, we are dealing with a global pandemic. And you all know as well as I do, the schools are operating in a very weird sense. We do code virtuals or hybrid, or I can't give you all the answers. In a non-pandemic world, though, we wouldn't be looking at school, I don't think, on Thursday. But do keep that in mind, that potential is there. We then will see a break in the activity, likely between about, let's call it 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning, probably on Thursday, through about probably 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon on Thursday. So we'll see probably 6, maybe 10 hours with very little, if anything, falling. And then we will get into phase 2. This will be what will probably bring us the most snow. This is going to be more of a southern solution. This will have bands of heavier snow, and these will probably set up from DC Point south. We will also have to deal with a wintry mix, potentially, with that warm air that tries to creep up again. The further south the system takes, the further south we'll be moving that wintry mix line. So that would mean that heavier snow zone would also come to the south and really focus on southern Maryland. If it goes any further north, the track does, that wintry mix will go north and the snow totals will be cut down. I'm not too worried about ice accumulation with this one, though. I think this is mainly snow for much of us. What do I think for this? Probably 2 to 4 inches. That's what I'm going to go with right now. I know many of you shared maps and saw maps yesterday that saw 13.9 inches of snow from a multitude of sources. My forecast storm total, if you add phase 1 and phase 2 for the entire mid-Atlantic, this roughly would come out to something like this, 3 to 6. And let's just come in local real quick for those of you that, before I get there, let's take a look at the model outlook. So let's rewind a little bit. We're talking 3 to 6. Much of the region. Many of you saw those model images of 13.9 inches. I want you to keep in mind, that most of this here in Southern Maryland will come Thursday night into Friday. Not so much Wednesday into Thursday. But those same models that were showing that much snow that I'm sure you all saw, currently this is what most of the models are showing. A good, plucking of what we're talking about. And I see someone just said, I can't see the date with the live icon blocking. And I'm trying to talk this through so you know what we're looking at. There is one model, the European, that shows 9 inches of snow currently. That was a model that showed 13 inches. So let's come down a little bit, which I kind of figured would happen. Many of the models do not show that much snow. The GFS, the Canadian, that's the CMC, the NAM, the Shref plumes, most of them show a general 2 to 5, 3 to 5 inches. So that would be how I landed here. Not only do I look at models, and I know there's been a lot of talk today about my forecasting abilities. I will say I have been doing this for over 7.5 years now. I have an idea with what I'm doing, and I have a pretty good weather background. With that said, this is what I came up with. I think much of the region, again, I want to stress this will come Thursday into Friday. I'm not trying to be grouchy or be a Debbie Downer, but I do not think you will see 13.9 inches of snow. That is not what I'm thinking. In Leonardtown, I'm forecasting 3 to 4. The vast majority, if not all of that, will come on Thursday. Let's take you over to the models. Let me show you what we're talking about, and we will walk through it together. Give me 1 second while I get that set up. Here we go. This is Futurecast. As we move through the day tomorrow, we see very little. I mean, Futurecast tries to put in some rain showers tomorrow. This would be overnight tonight. I don't think that's going to happen. What I want to do, what you're going to see here, is there's going to be this blue line that represents the freezing line. And I'll let you know what time frame we're looking at. So as we head over towards 1 p.m. tomorrow, Futurecast is clear that freezing line well to the north. As we head towards 4 o'clock tomorrow, you begin to see that freezing line come back down to the south, and you begin to see snow break out in the southern Shenandoah Valley. This is at 4. As we head over towards 5, 6, 7, that is when snow begins to become the most widespread, and it's really focused out west, so maybe even saying 7 o'clock could be a bit too early. By 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night, this is going to be a slow roller. Again, this is not going to be what we're really talking about, I think, for much of our snowfall accumulations you see running in the ticker down below that has all your town names. So again, as we take a look towards about 10, 11 o'clock, we might see some snow begin to break out. Let's zoom in. Look at where it's favoring our colder rural communities, that are away from the water. Now, we do see this also be the case. This is also the case up here to the north. This is where, we have a decent amount of cold air in place. As you push this forward towards midnight and 1 o'clock, again, maybe some brief snow overnight Wednesday into Thursday, but then as we head into 1 o'clock, this would be 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, you see the snow that is there transitions over to like this little bit of a sleet, wintry mix we've been talking about, and a little bit of rain. How much snow is this? Almost none. I mean, let's take a look at the snow, and this is from, so it's almost no snow, really. It's really focused areas north, and that's why that forecast shows higher snowfall totals up to the north. So this is 5 a.m., this is 6 a.m. on Thursday, 7 a.m., 8 a.m., 9 a.m. This model's a little later with everything, but snow is the most consistent to the north of the Benedict Bridge north of 231 through northern Calvert, northern Charles, PG, and Arundel County. South of there, not so much. This shows mainly rain. Freezing line even still is up to the north, so that even this area down in here could have some issues, and we'll probably see at least some sleet. That's what these darker colors here tell me. It's probably not heavy snow. But this is 8 a.m., this is 9 as we head over towards 10 o'clock. 11 o'clock in the morning, by about midday, then we pull out the snow, and maybe we end at some flakes for some of you. And then by about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, we've emptied out. Not much is going on. Let's take this over through phase 2. And I showed you my map, so let's come back here. This will not capture the entire system. We'll need to switch models here to capture the whole system, but just bear with me. So this is going to be Thursday at 4 p.m. We're still sitting quiet. 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the evening on Thursday. That's when snow begins to move in. And much of it, you see, the precip is focused to the south, which is something, if you're a winter weather enthusiast in Southern Maryland, you'd like to see. So this is 7 o'clock. As you move forward towards 8 and over towards 9 and over towards 10 o'clock, this model, freezing lines generally in our region. I would disregard this little bow tie looking thing. But it tries to put the heavy snows even to our south. I think this is too far south. This will probably come north. That's what I would imagine. But with this solution, Southern Maryland would be all snow for almost the entire event. Coming over towards 11 p.m. and then over towards midnight, snow continues. We do see some dry slots working in. I do definitely want to take note of that. So we could see periods of time here in Southern Maryland where very little happens. This is 1 o'clock in the morning on Friday. Let's switch models to gather the entire storm. This is the same model, just at a lower resolution, but it still shows the same thing. So as we head over from 1 o'clock, this is now 4 o'clock, so this will go every 3 hours. This shows snow already pushing out by 4 o'clock Friday morning. 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, and this is now, 10 o'clock in the morning Friday. It is all just about out of here on Friday. This gives us a few hours. Most of Friday, this model in particular gets us time to, kind of work things out and get ready for the next system that will be coming. So that's that. We never saw a blizzard on that model. We never saw super high snow rates. So that's why I don't believe this 13.9 inches. I'll tell you later. For those that want to stick around, I'll tell you how we arrived at that point. For some of the people who shared that. And we'll talk more about that in a second. But for those of you that are still here who are just looking for a forecast, let's get through it. So that's my forecast. A general 3 to 6. Areas south of 231. Much of the region, probably more like 3 to 4. North of there, 3 to 5. Maybe closer to Annapolis and Baltimore and DC, maybe more like 3 to 6. What's the timeline for this system? You saw this in the open as you were waiting, or if you're just now joining, you didn't see this. But this is a graphic I use, and for those of you this is your first live stream with me, welcome. I'm happy to have you. And I'm here to give you your forecast for Southern Maryland and around the Mid-Atlantic. With this, the storm timeline, I try to use this to try to convey when things should be happening and to the degree. So you see here, every line except for the row conditions, which we'll talk about in a second, has a distinct period in time that we're looking at, either phase 1 or phase 2. With snow with phase 1, it's probably going to be the most likely we see snow Thursday morning. With phase 2, it'll be the most likely overnight. We could see mixing with either one of them, but I think we are more likely to mix with phase 1 than with phase 2. And you see that break in there. Rain is going to be likely for at least southern locations on Thursday. Rain possible for some southern locations on Thursday night into Friday, but maybe not so much. That's why that's the lowest possible rating. Roads, travel, I would not say you should go out and travel. Maybe, I would say maybe if you're in far southern St. Mary's County, you could do that, but even then, I don't know about that. So you will have issues traveling. Flying, that will be impacted, no doubt. Driving, that'll be impacted. Schools, that'll be impacted. Everything's going to be impacted. You won't be able to take your poodle to the vet if you have like a 2 o'clock appointment Thursday. It might not be snowing, but the roads will probably be slick a little bit. So do keep that in mind. And that gets us to the end of that presentation. So this is my forecast right now. Let's just take it back. Let's break it down step by step, and then we'll get into more of the technical information for those that want to stick around for that, because I know not everyone likes to hear that stuff. They just want to know, JB, how much snow am I going to see? And we'll revisit that for those that are just now joining. Again, this comes in 2 waves. Wave 1 is going to be mainly a snow situation, DC points north, and we could see some heavier banding up that way. This is going to be more of a wintry mix for our region, meaning this will start as snow, then go to sleet, then go to freezing rain, and then to rain probably. I don't know if we're talking a lot of ice, but some ice. Oh, that took me back one more slide. Let's move forward here. So snow totals favored north and west. Where you see that 3 to 6, that's where a winter storm watch is generally in place. Through West Virginia and western Maryland from about Cumberland points west. Locally, northern Calvert, northern Charles, PG, Anne Arundel, you might be able to squeeze out an inch, maybe 2, and that could be pushing it. And I just showed you a model, and it showed if we're going to see snow in any part of our region prolonged, it would be in that region for phase 1. Ice could be an issue, and I think we're talking under 1/10 of an inch of sleet and under 1/10 of an inch of freezing rain. We will see the highest totals inland. So through northern Calvert, northern Charles, and northern St. Mary's. You know, the areas away from the water. I think that's what we're talking about. They have biggest ice concerns through portions of the southern and central Shenandoah Valley. So any interest towards Harrisonburg, Charlottesville, Staunton, down towards Lynchburg, Roanoke, you're probably going to look at least a little bit of ice. Phase 2 is what will favor our region. Again, just recapping this for those that are joining, then we'll talk more about technical stuff. This favors our region more because it's coming from the south, kind of. So that will try to set up some heavier snow bands in our region. We will need to see how far north this wintry mix line comes. If it does not come this far north that I have shown, that would be good news for winter weather enthusiasts. If it does come this far north, that would be bad news, and we'd have to cut back totals a little bit. Granted, my forecast for this phase is already kind of low to start with. 2 to 4, I think this is a pretty reasonable forecast. You'll probably see more down towards the southern Shenandoah Valley, away from the water. We probably won't have to deal with mixing problems. So Harrisonburg, Charlottesville, Staunton, down towards Lynchburg, you might see 3 to 5. You could maybe see 2 to 4 inches go as far south as Richmond. So generally, this is what you'll see if you combine both. This is not what will be left on the ground by the end of it, I don't think, especially here in southern Maryland. Because if you see any accumulation, maybe up to an inch tomorrow evening, tomorrow night into Thursday morning, again, mainly northern locations, it probably will get washed away at some point. Let's bring it back in here. I need to fix that setup. But I think generally speaking, we're talking mainly 3 to 4. From Prince Frederick to near La Plata Point south, through much of the northern neck, through much of St. Mary's County, the southern tip of St. Mary's, I'm talking Scotland, Piney Point, I'm looking at you, St. George Island, I'm even thinking Cobb Island, these islands that are right up along the water, and those coastal locations in southern Charles and southern St. Mary's, you might see less. You probably will see less. And it's the areas I'm thinking about right now are the same areas that did not see that much snow this past weekend. The areas that say we got nothing but rain, while areas 5 minutes away saw 5 inches of snow. Those would be the locations I'd be worried about with this general setup to maybe not see as much. So I'm thinking that's going to be the case. Why is it that southern Calvert and southern St. Mary's County always seem to be in a different bubble than everyone else? Because of all of the water. Even if you just take a look at Calvert County, you drive up Route 4 or Route 2, your preference. You can really notice it on Route 4, though. You start down in like Lesby, Solomons. It's all flat. You have some trees, but it's all flat. Once you get north of like Huntingtown, you go up and down those hills a little bit. That is the reason there's such a stark difference between the two. Because the county's about the same width from bottom to top. Some caveats where you get towards Brooms Island and stuff. And this is the same story in St. Mary's County. You drive up Route 5, you know what I'm talking about. And in Charles County, you drive up Route 5, you know what's going on. So that is the reason. The southern parts of these counties are flat. They are very close to sea level. That is why the warm water has such a great effect, because there is almost nothing to stop it. And these are little peninsulas once you get down towards like south of White Sands and south of Leonardtown. The peninsulas on these counties, they're small, they're flat. So what happens is that the warmer air from the Chesapeake Bay, the Patuxent River, the Potomac River, all kind of come together and tend to make these areas about 2 to 4 degrees warmer than the rest of the region. And when we talk about situations like this, that makes all the world of difference. That's why you could be in Dunkirk sitting with 5 inches of, let's talk about this forecast, 2 inches of snow by Thursday morning, and down towards Lesby, you've seen rain and maybe some dry spots. So that isn't really even the case as you head over towards central Virginia. If you live in King George, towards Dahlgren, you don't see as much. But you head just inland a little bit, you're fine. The further west you keep driving out towards Spotsylvania and Caroline counties, you're fine. So this is really a thing that's unique to Southern Maryland. In those small microclimates with the water, it creates different winds, wind directions. It creates very mesoscale things, and we can even come in closer. You talk areas like Cove Point and Solomon's Island, and let's take it over to St. Mary's County. You talk Town Creek, you talk the Base, Ridge, Point Lookout, St. George Island. Those areas that are right up along the water, they're warmer as well. So if you can see the bay or the river in sight, you will almost always see the lowest snow totals, and that will be the same here. So thank you for the 430 of you that have stuck around to hear me babble on about geography. There is something I want to address, and I didn't want to do it during my main forecast. Yesterday, you all saw, as I mentioned, all of those posts about 13 inches of snow, and I called it out. You all know I am not one to publish a non-science-based forecast. I'm not one to hype things up, and I'm very level-headed, and I will explain to you what I'm looking at. When I'm wrong, I'll say that I'm wrong. However, those posts got shared not millions, but thousands of times, and I had to answer questions about it, so I called it out, and a couple of the local other pages and forecasters got very angry with me and questioned my credentials. I promise you, I wouldn't be doing this unless I knew what I was doing. I wouldn't have the following I have if I did not know what I was doing. Anyone that's been following long enough knows what I bring to the table. I don't claim to always be right, and I will not tell you I may know it all about weather. I know a lot of things, but I do not know it all. I studied meteorology at Millersville University for a few years before I switched to education to get a degree in science and social studies education, so I'm still getting a science degree. So I just want to put that out there. My intention is never to be grouchy or to be rude to anyone. And some of these pages that were talking about this and some of these forecasters, they're very reputable. But those are irresponsible posts. You have never seen me once publish a snowfall map just like that. Where it's like 13 inches. I hope you know this isn't a real forecast. It's just a model. People don't know that. I know that. You're scrolling through Facebook. You see that. You're like, what the hell is going on? I know that's how things work. So if you see anything, you'll see this little bar chart that shows a wide variety of everything. I mean, you see the European with 9 inches there of snow. Then you see 2 other models with 5 inches and 2 other with less than 4. So I will always describe my forecast to you. I've since apologized to those outlets that my comment was rude to them. But I did not apologize for calling it an irresponsible post. And I'm thinking Southern Maryland weather, and yeah, that's the outlet I'm thinking of. So I'm sure if you follow both pages, you probably saw a little bit of drama. My apologies. I try not to be a drama person, but I just need to address that because it's been annoying me all day, and I was going to do a post, but I figured not. So let's take a look at the models. For those of you that stuck around, thank you for listening to me babble on. I know I can go on for hours and hours of talk. So. Whew, let's get into it. I want to take you over to, are you going to show up? I think yes, you are what I want. So let's take a look at the European model. Again, thank you for those of you that stuck around with me through that. I just needed to vent a little bit. So this is the model that does the most with snow, and I'll show you what it does. So again, this is tomorrow. We're not looking at much. As we head you over, and also I don't just look at models. I will make sure I say that as well. I'm a well-rounded forecaster. I know what I'm looking at. So this is 7 o'clock, or 4 o'clock rather. No, yes, 7 o'clock. Let me make sure I have my times right. And you all who are weather nerds know exactly what I'm looking at. Yes, 4 o'clock. This has snow out west, well out west. Let's move you over. Towards 7 o'clock, this model gets snow in here, and it starts to snow in our region. What this model does that the others don't is that it takes this first system, tracks it a little further south, and has more cold air available to it. So you will see, again, this is not my forecast. I'm showing you how this is what the European model shows. Again, it's not something I endorse. I'll tell you why in a second. This model, though, the other models we looked at earlier, for those that were around, showed the heavy snow north. This model, the European, shows the heavy snow south in our region. And it continues it. It keeps that rain snow line well south. Could this happen? It definitely could. And if it does, totals have to go up. I don't think it's likely, though. And as we get, this is now getting towards about 10 o'clock in the morning on Thursday. This has almost all snow in our region. And then we see a period of maybe some quieter weather. And then snow moves back in. And actually, this is the newest run. This is the 18Z run. So I think Wesley's watching this. Wesley, the 18Z is now in. I have not seen this yet, so this is actually a new model for me. But it looks very much the same. I mean, it has the heaviest snows well south, but it brings some decent snow into our region and keeps us all snow. And this is when I will I will show you a snow output because I can explain it. You can't just take I guess you could take a screenshot, but then you get my face. So the European model, even this has come down. So I just showed you on my little bar chart here, 9 inches. I made this right before we came live here about half an hour ago when the earlier model run was in. So that was 9 inches. The newest model run is in. And it shows that is a 5.6 out here. So that number looks a lot like the rest of these numbers. So that would further me to say this forecast seems pretty dead on. I feel very confident in the way this forecast currently stands. So taking it back over, the European model. Let's take it back a couple runs. Let's take it back to the run I'm talking about. Oh, look at all that snow it has. I know. You see 9 inches of snow, people want to go crazy. So as we take this back, let's run it all the way back. Let's take you over to precip type. This model, snow, heaviest snow in our region. It doesn't even stop the snow in our region. And again, it has that heavier snow. And that's how you get 9 inches of snow. If we stay all snow, that is very much a possibility. And I will admit my forecast is wrong if that happens. I don't think it will be, but that potential is there. The American model is one that is not, it has a decent solution, at least I think. It shows snow that comes in. And then you see this pink, that would be an area of freezing rain. This is rain to the south. So we start to snow briefly. I mean, so this is, let's take this up. This would take you to, this would be 10 o'clock in the evening. This would be 1 o'clock in the morning. You get a little bit of snow before you go over to some freezing rain and sleet. This model, just from that, puts down maybe up to an inch more to the north. You see that. Taking it forward, rain continues, a little bit of freezing rain. Maybe we should switch back over to snow at the end. And then the southern system begins to take hold. And what this model does that I think is very possible is that it brings sleet, that's the orange, and freezing rain, that's the pink, northward into our region. It has heavy snow. This model is warmer, it's a little further to the north, and it brings some sleet into southern zones. And this is a solution I think is very possible. And it brings sleet even further north into our region before having everything exit out. So in total, let me make sure. Yep. In total, this model has very little It has the heaviest snow to the north. It has a general 1 to 2 in our region. What I want to do, and that's still there. Give me a second. This will look weird on your end, I think. So bear with me. I know this looks weird. You're seeing like a weird screen right now. But this is just so I can go like this and draw on it. You all know I like to draw. I want to get my pen tool out. So give me 1 second while I get that. Epic pen. There we go. Please load up quick for me. And I will get to questions in a second. I'm sorry, I have not gotten any questions at all. But this model takes snow. Let's get you. I guess that size is fine. It really does not give this area much. And this is an area I think either you could see a lot or not that much. And of course, that's much of our region. This model, so this is the GFS for those following along, gives less than an inch on Thursday. We'll call that R. And this gives us maybe 1 to 3 on Friday. While the European, so the Euro, gives us about 1 to 3 Thursday and gives us roughly, what was that? Maybe another 1 to 3 Friday. So the question here is going to be sleet. That is the biggest story, I think, with this, is going to be sleet. Let's zoom out. If I show you the sleet output here, see that big orange blob? This is the area that sees sleet. And this extends all the way to DC. You see more down to the south. And I would assume you could probably even extend that this way. So that would be a concern I have, because our upper level of the atmosphere, 925s, 850s, 750s, warmer, 500, a little bit warmer. For those that don't think I know what I'm talking about, I need to say these numbers so people know that I do. People, you know how it is. It's always something. Okay, so that is kind of like that's kind of what we're talking about. These are really the two scenarios on the table. A further north solution that offers very little. So, the bullseye's up here versus the European model that takes it further south. It seems like the American model is not amped at all. So that is that. I will get to your questions now. I will leave you on this while I answer your questions because it's prettier to look at. And I cannot get to all your questions, and my apologies, so I'm going to try. Let's see, Laney. Hubby works for UPS, and he'll be on the road around 3:30 each of these mornings. Yeah, Laney, he'll probably have some issues. My apologies. And actually, let me come down here all the way to the bottom. I work from there because I know you all are still watching. Let's see. All caps. Please don't type to me in all caps. Because it takes up more room on my screen. Tomorrow, mic issues. You'll have issues. Sleet. Yes, sleet. I think sleet is going to be a big issue. And I want to see if I can do something. And I think I might be able to, which would really help me out here because it would allow me to draw on the snow map I put out. I think I'll be able to do it. There you go. You can't tell the difference. I can though. Awesome. Let's get that orange color. Let's keep it consistent. The region I am the most worried about busting with this forecast with sleet. Prince Frederick, 231 down here. Yeah, I mean, you probably draw it all the way out here. That is the region I'm the most worried about. This is the region you could be looking at sleet. The difference between sleet and snow is very, very minute. Very minute. It is the difference of a couple of degrees, a couple thousand feet above your head. But that will cut down snow totals greatly, and I think that is a possibility. I mean, I even have, that would be why I have lower snow totals, come back here, down in this region. This area down here to the south and east, this is going to be the area that sees rain with the initial system. That could potentially see sleet with the second system, which would cut down totals. This region here, and definitely areas, the further north you head and west, it's not as much rain. But I'm talking really southern Maryland here in the northern neck. This is the area that's maybe see some brief snow. Areas up to the north see more snow. You go over to a period of maybe some sleet and freezing rain, then over to rain, and then with the second system, it should be snow, but maybe there's sleet, and the sleet line could get this far north, which would put you closer to 3 storm total than 6. And really, I want to delete this. If we take it back one slide, yeah, oh, no. Again, this is going to be the bulk of our accumulation here in southern Maryland. If we see that sleet line come this far north, you are much closer to 2 than you are to 4. So that is my concern. 100%. Oh, Jesus. I now have to figure out how to work this. See, I thought I was getting one step ahead, so I want to take that away. I'm going to bring this back to here and bring this over here. Let's get back to some of your questions. Tuesday, if timed out correctly. Oh, Pat, what? Bro, you were always talking days out. Let's do one storm at a time. Should I count on tomorrow being my Friday? Laura, I probably would. Sorry, I need to change. There we go. Now I can see the screen properly. If I come here, I mean, you have travel difficulties Thursday and Friday, so I probably would. I would expect that 100%. Thank you, Anita. I appreciate that. I face criticism all the time from everyone. I've gotten used to it over the years. It still kind of gets under my skin a little bit, as evidenced by my little rant earlier. But I get criticized, and then my forecast doesn't always end up right, but sometimes it does. It does more times than it's not, so I like to think I'm pretty good at what I do. See, I doubt highly that you'll be wrong, but I'm praying. I mean, I would love for my forecast to be wrong. I would love to see the European model. I think that'd be great. I just don't think it's likely. And this bar chart here will be posted up on Twitter and on Facebook here in a little bit. Tonight's forecast posted at 8, so I'll probably post this up around 8:30. So that's kind of my goal. Thank you, Lori. Appreciate that comment. Thank you. I think I'm good at what I do, both here with the weather and in the classroom. So, and of course, I was off for winter break for about 2 months. We saw nothing. The semester started Thursday. I've been back in school for less than a week for this semester. And within the first week, we're talking this. This is the first week of my semester, so that keeps me busy. So between weather and school, I will be crazy. I will give you all a heads up. Tomorrow is going to be a real drag here on JB weather because I'm in class from 12:30 to 4:45. I have a couple breaks in there, so I'm sure I'll do a couple posts, but tomorrow afternoon is not, I'm going to be very sporadic. The best way to catch me, though, is on Twitter. And also, it isn't listed in the links. You can always get the forecast over on YouTube. I don't have a link for that yet because I have a link. I don't have a URL, though. The URL currently is a random combination of letters and numbers and symbols. I was told once I hit 100 followers I can change it. I've yet to do that. I've since emailed YouTube. But to get that link, just go to jbweather.net. Click on the little YouTube thing in the top right-hand corner, and it'll take you right over there. And JB Weather is now also on Instagram at JB Weather. You can follow me. I posted a little behind-the-scenes thing earlier. And Forecaster always over there. So, and yeah, being a weatherman is a thankless job. So yeah, it's going to be a crazy week. Every day is a weather alert day. It's going to be insane, and I fully expect that. What I want to do is come back over. I need to bring that back over here. I will show you the long range with what we're tracking, and I'll show you the euro, because why not? Why not? Let me get this set up, and I'll show you. For the 250 you still watching, thank you. I'm glad you enjoy me talking a little weather, a little technical. So here we go. Long range. This is today. Clear out. Maybe some rain showers overnight. I don't think it's that likely, though. We see snow. This is the first system. There's the second system. We know this. Then we go into Sunday. We see maybe some ice come north. Oh, sorry, this is Saturday. This would really be Saturday afternoon, evening. I mean, this really tries to paint some ice in our region. Right through here. Yeah. So I think Saturday and Sunday's affected. President's Day, we clear out. But then look at this. Oh, you see it. Let's go back. You can see a storm coming north. So Monday's a quiet day. Tuesday, though. Look at that. Hey, that's... Ugh. This system might not necessarily track this far inland. I could see this being on coastal system, too, and give us some snow. But I think in the very least, ice is likely. Look at... So, for the weather people around here, look at this 1040 high up here. I buy that, and it's going to be sending cold air all the way down. That's a classic CAD signal. Freezing rain. Oh, be quiet out. Oh, look, another system. Thursday. It's going to be a very active 2 weeks, I think. I think all of February is really active, but especially the middle of the month. Those that have lived around here long enough know that really between like Martin Luther King Day and St. Patrick's Day is like the peak of our winter season. Almost all of our great snowstorms have happened during this time period. Yeah, even March. March is a far more active winter weather month than December is. Our winter weather season is really like January. It's like a month behind. January is like December, February is like January, and March is like February. And then we normally can switch pretty quickly over to spring. We'll go right from snow to 90s in April. No worries. Really, like March, you'll go like right before St. Patrick's Day. You'll have like a snowy, St. Patty's bar outing, and then you go right over to warm weather. Let's see, Brandy, what's the latest dates for frost and freezes? We'll probably look at frost and freeze stuff until March and April. That's my guess. So it's going to be cold. If I show you the temperature output, this is going to be very cold. Again, we're here. So this is Tuesday. You see cold. You see those whites up top? That's below zero. So this is Wednesday, getting into Thursday. Then as we head into Friday, we're colder. Saturday, we're colder. Sunday. Look at this as we head into Monday. That cold air comes very far south. Look at that. Those single digits get close, and we're in the lower teens here. And then Tuesday, maybe we warm up a little bit, depending if that storm tracks all the way out here. We'll be in the 50s probably at some point. Probably more like the 40s. If it tracks out here, we'll be colder. This mile gets us warmer, and then more cold air. It's a cold outlook, I think. So it's going to be active. So you stay with JB weather. I'm going to have the latest for you on Southern Maryland weather and Mid-Atlantic weather. I mean, my map showed the entire Mid-Atlantic. If I can come back here, I can show you that. I mean, and it gives you a good idea. And I'll talk about, I live in Pennsylvania, so of course I'll talk about Pennsylvania. If you're down towards Richmond, I'll talk about you. So stay tuned. It's going to be really important. There's a lot of pipe out there. There's a lot of crazy people out there trying to make a quick buck off of you sharing a Facebook post. Well, I also would like to make a quick buck. I will do it through, actual reporting and science and all of that. So stay tuned. I'm gonna keep you and your family ahead of the storm. That is my logo, and I will that word is eluding me right now. It's my saying. So stay tuned. I'll continue to keep you updated with the latest. Again, tomorrow's going to be a weird day. I don't even know if I'll have a final call. This might even just suffice as a final call. We'll see. If I do have a final call, it'll probably be at around lunchtime, maybe. Again, tomorrow's a weird day. I have school almost all day. So it'll be in the morning, if anything. So we'll see. So stay tuned. And then storm coverage Wednesday night into Thursday. Thursday I only have one class in the morning. Maybe that'll get canceled. So, and then Friday I'll be with you. Saturday, Sunday, Valentine's Day. Yes. So it's going to be long. See, Lori, have you eaten dinner? You've given all that she gets. And Lori, catchphrase, thank you. Catchphrase. And no, I'm not eating dinner yet. That'll be up next. And I'll head to the store and go get some food to stock up for this week to get some snacks. I am still rocking, for those wondering. Goldfish are ready. So I still have one box from the last storm, but given all the storms, I might need to grab another box just in case for a backup. I love goldfish, and coffee is good. I just stocked up on coffee. I should probably get some wine as well, because given the active week, that's what I'm going to need. So, so stay tuned. So, again, Facebook. You see the links on there for Facebook, Twitter, and the website. Instagram at JB Weather. YouTube. Just go to the website, click on the button, it'll take you over. So it's going to be active, and I'll continue to keep you updated. So yes. I am now going to finish up this forecast. I'm going to go get some schoolwork done so I can be free for you all this weekend, at least to some degree. And yeah, so stay tuned. I will continue to keep you updated. I'm Forecaster John Bordash. Thank you so much for chatting with me for the last hour almost. It's been fun, and thank you for the 202 of you who've stuck around. And we maxed out almost close to 900. I saw that. So it's nice to see that people, want to tune in and get the latest info. So we'll continue to keep you updated, so stay tuned. Have a nice and safe one, and keep it tuned right here to JB Weather for the latest weather information you can rely on.